Hey everybody, it is Brandon Lee with Funnel Amplified. I am so excited to have you all here with us on our webinar today. Hey, I just want to start off by saying this is not a sales webinar. We are not going to try and sell you anything, I promise. This is educational. We want to help you understand what is going on and how smarter companies have learned to use this crazy digital thing to close more deals and build more relationships. So now we will offer you at the end of it, if you like, you could get a free access to using our software. We'll give you a free trial. But just want to let you know, this is no pressure. We want to share with you what we have experienced over the last decade in our own businesses. And therefore, we want to share with you and say, this is what's been happening. How can we help and benefit other people? So y'all ready to get started? If you're ready, throw me a yes, I'm ready down in the chat and let's get going. Hey, by the way, on the chat, I'm going to ask questions here and there. We're going to throw some chat questions at you as well. Love for this to be interactive. See if there's any questions we can answer for you along the way. Okay, everybody in, we're ready to get started. Give us about 15, 20 minutes, and we hope we are going to add some pretty powerful information to help you grow your businesses. All right, we are moving to the slide presentation. You can still see me down here in the corner. I'm with you the whole time. Hey, look, here is what has happened. Lead generation, sales, marketing, building relationships, it has dramatically changed in the last, I'm going to call it 20 years. Let's call it the internet era, give or take. Don't hold me perfectly on the years. I started building my first web app in 1997, but let's call it from 2000 to 2020. Basically, everything has changed, right? There's Google. We didn't have that before. There's Facebook. There's LinkedIn. There's Twitter. There's Zoom. There's webinars. There are landing pages with free PDFs, so many things that we just didn't have before. And the result is now that actually buyers control their journey. Buyers have more control. Now, here's a story I like to share. Back in the day, I got gray, you know. Back in the day, I would get people that would on the door and come in, our receptionist would be there and they'd say, hey, could we speak to whoever, right? May have been me, may have been other people. But it was a cold call, right? It wasn't on the phone, but it was a cold call. And sometimes I would actually meet with them. Now, I know it sounds crazy in today's age, right? Why in the world would you meet with somebody? But you think about it, back then, they were a source of information. You know, I didn't have Google. Maybe I was involved with an industry or an association and I'd get something once a month or once a quarter or every year they'd have an event and we'd go to those events to get information, to learn what's going on. But in between those times, if somebody on the door, it was an opportunity to get information. But the reality now is buyers don't need that. Buyers don't need a seller to give them information. They can get information themselves. Google, Bing, social, go into your LinkedIn profile and say, hey, friends, I need this type of solution. What do you recommend? There are so many opportunities for buyers that they don't need sellers. They control their own journey. So if you're a seller and you're trying to get their attention, they can ignore you, but then come to you when and if they ever need you. So there's been this shift. There's been this major shift. And again, these timelines aren't perfect. If you want to pop in the chat and tell me, hey, you're wrong on these timelines, that's fine. I'm not trying to be perfect on the timelines, but let's just look at these different eras. In the 90s, when we first started building websites, it was really an SEO. It was about keywords. We didn't use the term SEO back then, but it was about those keywords and people being able to find you based on a whole bunch of keywords at the bottom of your page. And if you're old enough to remember that, you remember that bottom of website pages were just filled with a bunch of words. And what we did then was we were trying to attract people to come to our websites. But even then, back then, most of them were pretty static. Maybe they'd have a contact us button, but there wasn't a whole lot of interaction. It was just a big digital brochure with a www. And as we moved into 2000s, we moved into the email era. This is MailChimp and Constant Contact and Emma and others started kicking in, and we were able to email people pretty consistently. We didn't have to, lick a stamp and put it out, but we were able to email people. And we would put them in databases, we put them in different lists, and we would use email to sell. Now, I'm not saying all the other things we stopped doing, but these were the new technologies, and these were the new ways of doing it. And then the 2010s-ish, we moved into this inbound and social era. And this is where I like to call it the Internet 2.0. And we started having more engaging opportunities online. So in inbound marketing, you would have like a landing page. Somebody would do a Google search. They'd find like a blog article. They'd go to your page. They'd start reading it. And boom, there's a pop-up. They welcome you to download this free PDF with more detailed information. All you have to do is give them your name and your email. Now, what's been happening over the last 20 years in this email inbound era is that we as buyers, right, whether you're buying as a consumer, you're buying as a business owner, business leader, but we as buyers have realized that we don't want to put our name and email in forums anymore. We really don't. We have easy methods to unsubscribe from newsletters now. And we have gotten gun shy, if you will, from putting our name and email into things because we just get so much email these days, right? You go, yeah, hey, I want to download this PDF or I want to look at this report. And all of a sudden you get email after email after email after email. And they're trying to sell you a bunch of stuff. Well, we've learned and we've decided, you know what? Is downloading this report really worth the mass amounts of email I'm going to get from this company? And think about if you do that 2, 3, 5 times a week, all of a sudden your inbox is full and you don't like it. So we as consumers, we as buyers, we started shifting away, necessarily put our name and email things, but if there's free access to content, then we're in. But we've moved, and especially in this like post-COVID or middle of COVID time frame, we moved into more relationships, right? We have moved into a relationship era. So the question is, how many of you are using Zoom or other methods for video conversations, right? Throw it in the chat. Let me know how many of you are using this. You're probably overloaded with it. But really what's happened, because we went into this email era, we went into the inbound, we went into the social, and so much social used to just be post, but not a whole lot of engagement. Really, we've all moved into this relationship era. We're back to wanting to build real relationships, just like we've done before. Now, nothing has changed, right? It's just different. We want real relationships. So we use social media, we use digital. And here's a question I have for all of you. How many of you have real relationships with people that you've never met face to face? How many of you have people that you met online, you met in Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, you've chatted with them? Maybe you've even done a Zoom conversation, so you've had video-based face-to-face, but you've never actually been in front of them. You've never shared a meal with them. How many of you have done that? Throw that in the chat and let me know if that's you. But we are back in this relationship era, and people want to be connected to real people. Now, buyers, they buy differently. The way they buy is honestly, it's changed for good, right? There's no opportunities for cold calls are hard. If you call somebody on a cold call, and quite honestly, we don't recognize the number here, we don't answer it. They go into voicemail. If somebody sends you information on LinkedIn and you don't want to pay attention to it, you don't. You just delete it and you move on. But what people are really doing is they want to connect to social matter experts. This is what buyers are doing. They want to connect to people that are adding value, that have insights, that have innovation. They want access to peers. They want to be in front of people that know best practices. They're trustworthy information givers. They really want access to pressure-free content. Now, what does that mean? I don't want to put my name in your inbox or in your form so that you can fill my inbox with a bunch of information. I just want to read information. I want to do my research in my own time. right? Buyers want relationships that are going to help them solve their business challenges. They do not want to be in relationship with salespeople. Did you hear that? They don't want salespeople. What they want is relationships with people that are adding value to their lives, helping them solve their problems, helping them achieve goals that they've had in their life. So as we see this shift happening and companies are doing more and more of the same, we see this huge, huge, huge challenge that's happening for companies. I have a friend of mine who's in the printing industry, and their business has just been really, really struggling. Sales are down. Their sales cycles are taking longer. And I said, what are you guys doing differently? Honestly, he just looked at me and laughed, and he's like, you know what? We're just doing more of the same things we've done before. They've been trying to solve the problem by doing more of the activities that they've always been doing that led them into this challenge. Now, I'm sure your business isn't that way. Maybe it is. A lot of people, it's just easier. We think, man, things are slowing down. We need more sales. We need to work harder. What I'm telling you is with buyers, you need to work smarter. You need to work differently. Now, these numbers here should convince any of us that what we've done isn't working, and we need to look for some new ways to grow our business, capture new leads, build better relationships in order to close more deals. So on the far left there, you can see the global challenge for sales and marketing. This is a big one. 53% of sales reps meet or exceed their quota. Wow. What that means is 47% of salespeople are not. 47% of salespeople are not just hitting quota. But yet, so many companies, their strategy is put more butts in seats, throw more salespeople at it. We're not hitting our numbers, put more people at it. That's a very expensive proposition. It's a very expensive strategy, knowing that basically 1 out of every 2 salespeople you hire is not going to meet quota. Then you have to decide, do you replace them? Turnover isn't cheap. Training isn't cheap. Ramp up time isn't cheap. But 47% aren't meeting their quota. So what do you do? Okay, I love this number 2 in the next one, 9th. When asking buyers to rank order the resources they go to when making a buying decision, salespeople were ranked 9th. 9th. We all know that if you're not in the top 2 to 3, it just doesn't matter. 4, 5, 9th, 20th, it doesn't matter. The top 2 to 3 are the ones that are going to get buyers' attention. So if salespeople are 9th, that means most of the time, people aren't reaching out to them for information. They're reaching out to people trying to give information. Now think about this in your own life, your own use with LinkedIn, Facebook. When somebody's reaching out to you, you feel obligated to connect? Do you feel obligated, especially when it's a salesperson? Listen to this, and this happens to me a lot, and you guys tell me, throw it in the chat if this happens to you, raise your hand, whatever. I get somebody that'll send me a LinkedIn connection request. Hey, Brandon, I see that we're in the same industry or something along those lines. Would you connect? I'm like, okay, connect. And then almost immediately, here comes the sales pitch. Hey, Brandon, we have a service that I guarantee is going to make your life You got 10 minutes for a demo? And then worse, they keep sending me messages. Hey, maybe you didn't see my last message. Hey, I know you're super busy. Would you just respond and let me know that you're getting these? No. You know why? I don't have to. And I'm sure you're the same way, right? They're trying to get in on our time. They're trying to push their sales product on us, and we don't have to respond. We can just block, unfriend, disconnect, ignore. We don't have to do that. Now, however, buyers will look to sellers. 30% of buyers said they would look to sellers early in their buying stage, but there's a caveat to it. And you go to the next number, the 90%. Buyers are willing to engage with value-adding advisors or experts at early stages. So think about this. A buyer will, 30% of buyers said they will connect with the seller early in their buying stage, But 90% of them say, I will connect and engage with a value-adding advisor early in my buying stage. So what does this mean? This is really simple, and this is really exciting. If you look like a sales rep, very few people want to connect with you. But if you and people on your team look like a value-adding advisor, 90% of people want to connect with you. Simple math, right? The way we appear, our online persona, our online culture, how we represent ourselves consistently online determines how many people want to connect with us. It's called the buyer circle of trust, and we're going to get into that a little bit more. But when you're experiencing these challenges with selling in a modern era, you're probably struggling. Most companies are. How do we do things differently? It's so easy to put our head down and just keep doing the way we've done things before. But I was really curious is, 2000, 2012, I started getting into inbound marketing. I was trying to see like what is going on in the industry. And I really noticed in 2016, 2017, that there was a big challenge and companies weren't converting, weren't moving over. So I started to take a look and go, what are the best companies doing? How are they reinventing themselves in order to grow their brand and continue to be a leader in their industry? I wanted to know who has adapted and who has succeeded. I wanted to know what they were doing differently. Now, quick time out here, throw in the chat, let me know, who have you seen that are doing things better, doing things differently, and you look to as a success story in this modern digital era of selling and marketing? Love to hear who you think and take a look at them. But what I found is a few companies that have done things differently and they've succeeded. And I wanted to share with you who they are, what they're doing, and see how you could apply this stuff to your business as well. So SAP, now look, I know they're a huge company, and many of you looking at this might say they're way bigger than my company. But let's take a look at what they've done, because even though they're a massive global corporation, this system that they did could apply to any business, I promise. Now, don't get freaked out by the word social sellers program. That's what they initially called it 6-7 years ago. But as it evolved, they changed the name because it wasn't about using social media to sell. It was about using digital platforms like social media to build relationships, to share information, to be known, to be liked, and to be trusted by people in the industry as an expert, as an influencer. So don't let social selling get in the way, because I know a lot of you go, oh, we tried social media, it didn't work. I hear you. A lot of people have tried social media and it didn't work. But I'm going to show you how to use social media, how to use content, how to use it across your entire team to make it work. And that's what SAP did. That's what I learned from them. Now, here's a really, really cool thing. 90% of their team members that use these new digital-based relationship building tools, they were 90% more likely to meet or exceed their quotas. 90%. Now go back a little bit when we talked about 47% of sellers were not meeting or exceeding their quotas. So if you could give your team a 90% more likely chance to meet and exceed quota, wouldn't you want to explore it? This is what I want to show you today. I really do. Now, this is a really cool, 300% number. It's awesome, right? Now, my friend Michael Labate, who works for SAP, and he was on this team, global team, he shared with me this information. And I said, Michael, why 300% more average deal size than their non-social sellers? And he said, well, Brandon, what do you think? And I had to think about it for a minute, but I thought, you know what? It's kind of like for me, I have high cholesterol. I don't know about you, a lot of us do. But I have high cholesterol, and when I learned I had high cholesterol, I looked to my doctor and I said, what do I do? I didn't then turn around and negotiate with him and go, well, let's see, I'm not sure if I believe you or I want to da-da-da, right? No, he was my doctor. He's an expert. I give him that credibility. I pay to go see him. I said, what do I do? And he gave me a prescription. And what Michael said at SAP is it's very, very similar. When you are known online as being a value-added information giver, you're known as an expert, you're known as an influencer in your industry, you consistently share valuable information that helps people solve their problems or meet their goals, and you're not seen as a sales rep. People come to you and say, what do I do? And they take what you provide for them as a prescription and they implement it. When you're seen as a sales rep, I don't know about you, but I know I do this. When I see someone as a sales rep, I sit there skeptically and I go, well, maybe we'll start at the bottom tier and see how it works. And then if it works well, then we'll upgrade. Have any of you ever experienced that? Have you experienced it as a seller? Or have you done that as a buyer? Again, throw in the chat. Let us know what you're thinking with that. Love to hear your experiences. Again, we're not trying to sell anything on this. We're just trying to educate and help you improve your business, improve your sales. But when you see 300% larger average deal size, I know for me, when I saw that, I'm like, I'm in. What do I need to do? The same amount of work, but 300% larger deal? I'm in. Double hands in. I'm in. That's what SAP was doing. So let's take a look at some other companies. You might be thinking, yeah, they're huge. They have these big training budgets and all that. In Contact, they tested social selling with a team of sales reps. They consistently provided social posts for marketing to help them build their personal brand and share it with their personal connections. The result, 122% increase in deal size in 6 months. Again, why? Why is this happening? Well, when you consistently share value-added content, people see you, they like you, they trust you. If they consistently see you trying to sell stuff, they ignore you, they don't trust you, they think you're just trying to close a deal, and they're right. So when they consistently were sharing across their sales team in their own personal networks, information about the brand, information about the industry, they were seen as value adding, they were seen as information givers, they increased their deal size. Pretty cool, huh? So let's take a look at another big company, IBM. Now, they use curated content, articles from around the internet that happen to be related to their industry, didn't care who wrote it, probably didn't share posts from their biggest competitors, but curated content, shared things from the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, industry technology websites, and brand content, and they provided daily social posts. They also trained their reps how to be more engaging and more interactive in social media, because we know if you go engage with people, they're more likely to engage with you. If you post things and you don't engage, engagement starts dropping off, because remember, there's real people on the other end, and you treat them like real human beings, even though there's a screen between you. But this is really cool. Daily social post and teaching them just how to be a bit more engaging in social media. They had a 400% increase in sales in 6 months. 400%. Again, I'm not trying to sell, I'm just saying, when I saw these numbers, I'm like, I'm in. What do we need to do? How do we do this? I want these types of numbers too. How do we provide daily social posts for everyone on our team, especially our sales reps, so we can help them communicate better with their audience? Let's look at one more. Log my calls. Now, what I love about this one, and the reason I added it on here, is they did it a little differently, and it was phenomenal for them. They launched not just a social effort, but a blogging, a content effort. So their plan was they were going to launch 150 blogs. They were going to publish 150 blogs in 50 days, 3 blogs per day. So yeah, there was a little bit of coordination and things going on, get people on the team all committed to writing. Maybe they even outsourced it. But they had 150 blogs in 50 days, and they provided social posts for the sales staff to share that every day. So for 50 straight days, they were all posting 3 social posts per day. Now, we get asked a lot, like, how many times a week should we post? These guys posted 3 times a day. And the results, a 400% increase in sales in 90 days. Again, as a business owner, I would love to have a 400% increase in sales in 90 days or greater, right? More than 400%. They simply started creating content that was valuable to their audience, and they provided for everyone on their team to post it into their personal social media and digital relationships. So what are the common threads? Well, they empowered the relationship between sellers and their buyers. They help their sales reps have a web presence, a social presence, a digital presence that help them be more attractive to people, right? They used content, valuable content, to start conversations. Excuse me. They use content to help them show up more consistently in the news feeds. Because remember with this, nothing has changed. It's just different. The more you're in front of people, the more they remember you. And if you're in front of them with good content and good information that helps their lives, they're going to remember you fondly. Remember, people don't always remember what you said, but they do remember how you made them feel. So if you post something that's all salesy, hey, come join my demo, they're going to remember that. But if you post information that helps them solve problems or achieve goals, they're going to remember that too. So content starts conversations. Conversations create relationships. And then relationships generate opportunities. And the more opportunities creates more wins. Now I want to go back to the relationships generate opportunities. Those opportunities could be people that reach out and go, can you tell me more? Relationship generating opportunities could be a referral. I may not personally need your services right now, but I love what I see you doing online. And my friend over here, they need you, let me refer you. So the more you're in front of people, the more you're consistently in front of them, more you are there as an information giver, as a trusted advisor, giving information, the more people look at you and go, how can you help me? So relationships generate opportunities. More opportunities equals more wins. And it really comes down to consistent social, consistent content giving, consistent information sharing means you're going to meet and exceed your quotas. You're going to have larger deal sizes. That's it. It's not that hard, but it is a new way of thinking. It is a new way of getting away from go sell, sell, sell to go give, give, give. Go build relationships, go share valuable content. This is one of my most favorite slides in the whole deck. A person sharing versus a company sharing. Now you might be a marketing person that's looking at this going, gosh, Brandon, I really, really struggle. I want all of our traffic going to, our blog site. I want all of our traffic going to all social pages. Well, I get that. But if your sales team, your C-suite, your customer success people, they're all the ones that are building these personal relationships. And we know that relationships drive business, right? Relationships close deals. You want to empower them to be able to have content to share with their communities. And in the reality, it benefits you even more. So when a person shares versus a company shares, people see the content as more trustworthy. They engage with it more because think about this for you. Do you want to engage with a human or do you want to engage with a brand? Right? We're human people. We're human creatures. We like to connect with people. So when people are posting, it's 8 times more likely to be engaged with. People are going to share it more often. 24 times more likely. So take a look at this. You have 100 people on your team. And you get 100 of them that are sharing this. And you have one business page. Where are you going to get more reach? Where are you going to get more engagement? Where are you going to get more shares? And by the way, the algorithms aren't friendly to you on your business page. They want you to pay for advertising. But when humans post, the algorithms are more friendly because social media is supposed to be social. And they want to motivate your team when they post something, people see it, to get them to post again and again and again. So post from people too, the last one is 7 times more better conversion. So when you're creating your post, you're designing it to do it for a reason, right? You want to drive traffic, you want to convert people, you want to build relationships. When the people on your team are posting, it's just that much better for the overall business than if you only post it from the business. So traditional marketing teams have not been set up to enable the team to transform easily into these effective social, digital web presence lead generators. We had other tools that helped us do things like I love HubSpot. I use HubSpot a lot. Driving traffic to our blog was great, but driving traffic to our blog was limited. What about empowering everyone on our team to be able to drive traffic? So that's why I created FunnelAmplified. Excuse me. FunnelAmplified, it's the only buyer enablement platform that I know of where you can personalize and amplify your brand messages 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for every person on your team. Now, there's the old way of looking at building our brands and doing our marketing. And if you're like my friend who said, hey, we're hurting, our sales are down, but we're just doing more of the same, you can stay in the old method, right? And I get it. There's something just comfortable about doing things the same way we've always done it. But what I've showed you here today is that buyers are doing things differently. Buyers aren't responding to the same old activities that sellers and companies have made. Buyers could actually go around those activities. They could ignore those activities. When we look at the buyer circle of trust, what we know is that buyers control their journey. The buyer circle of trust, if you haven't seen this, the buyer circle of trust means they let people into their circle of trust that they choose to let in. And they keep people out of their circle of trust who they don't want in. And what that practically looks like is this. If you're a value giver, you're an information giver, you give me information, research, data that's going to help me solve my problems or achieve my goals, I let you in. I connect with you. I pay attention to your content. I follow you. I engage with you. But if you're somebody that's just trying to sell me something, you're somebody that's not in it for me, well, then I get to keep you out. I push you out of my circle of trust. I unfollow you. I block you. I disconnect from you. I can ignore you. We have all these tools now. That means I can keep anyone out that I want out, and I can let anyone in that I want in. It's a buyer circle of trust. So if you learned nothing else from this presentation today, it's when any of us, an individual or everybody on your team, when they're seen as a value-added information giver, a trusted advisor, they're in the circle of trust. If they're seen as a salesperson, they're pushed out of the circle of trust. Now, you may be asking yourself, how do I be seen as a trusted advisor? It's a very, very simple formula, I think. To be a trusted advisor, you have to give trusted advice. You have to provide information that they want to read to help them solve their problems or achieve their goals. So here's a good example of one of our customers, Michael, with ActiveOps. And I love their story because it's very, very, very typical of the way our customers behave. And that's why we don't sell real hard. We provide information. We drink our own Kool-Aid. I hate that expression. I got to find another one. But we believe. The other one you hear is eat your own dog food. What other expressions? I have to look in the chats. What other expressions are there? I need a new one. The whole Kool-Aid thing, that's just morbid. But what other expressions do you guys have? I'd love to hear. But back to Michael Cups and ActiveOps. This is what a lot of our customers do. I built FunnelAmplified because I knew I wanted to provide social messaging and content strategy for everyone on my team, but I couldn't find a tool that did it. So we built FunnelAmplified. But Michael's experience with us is pretty typical. They tested us. They're like, hey, this all sounds good, Brandon. We want to believe it, but can we just try it? So they tried it with a small team, about 20 people, and the results were great. They had more engagements, they had more brand awareness, and most importantly, they were getting more sales conversations. They had more people in their pipeline, and they were closing more deals. So now they've expanded, and I believe they've got well over 2/3 of the people on their team using us every day. And they've even moved into using some of our personal content hubs, which we haven't really talked about, but if you're interested, we'll be glad to share that with you. So this is a pretty typical the way customers and ActiveOps, they have team members, I think in four or five countries. They're using us all over the world. So we're so confident in the way this works, and we know that the data, we know what's happened in the industry. And again, we built FunnelAmplified because we had our own need to empower our team to be able to do this. And so we know it works. It works for us. So we want to invite you to a free trial. Again, we're not selling. We told you that we're not selling, but if you want a free trial, we give it to you 14 days free. You'll see right there, no credit card required. So after 14 days, if you don't put a credit card in, we just shut down your account. No big deal. So you don't have to put a credit card in, but after 13 days, 14 days, you love what you're experiencing, then add your credit card. Prices will be right there in front of you. It's cheap, but it's valuable. It's very, very valuable for you. So you can go to our website, funnelamplified.com/free. It's funnelamplified.com/free. and check us out. So everybody, my name is Brandon Lee. I am the founder of Funnel Amplified, and we are funnel amplifiers, and we want to invite you to be a funnel amplifier with us. So if you take us up on our free trial offer, you can also come visit us. You'll get emails telling you this stuff, but come join us in our LinkedIn group or our Facebook group. We're filled with a bunch of very enthusiastic funnel amplifiers, so you can learn from other people, you can share with other people, you can see how other companies are using funnel amplification and social messaging to expand their brand, grow their business, generate more leads, and most importantly, build more relationships. So everybody, I'm Brandon Lee. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming to today's demo or webinar. If you want to leave any messages in there, what do you think, what you like, you want more information, you want to go deeper, you want to get on the demo, we'll be glad to do it again, no pressure. But we sure do appreciate you. Seeing some chats coming in, that's awesome. I'm going to shut down the video, but we'll stay online a little bit and keep chatting with you all. Have a fantastic day. Thank you for joining us today on our webinar. And let everyone know, we do a webinar every day. And so if you want to come back and join another one, or you want to invite people, please do so. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.